Hey, Daily Dosers, Chris here. Happy Monday to you. For those of you that are North Coast, North County, for those of you scattered around the U.S., especially up in Sacramento, go eat at McCooney's for me. Oh, at least send me a picture. And those of you globally that jump in on this, thanks for being a part of it. We've got a fun week. We've got a week that's first when you see it, you're going to roll your eyes a little bit. You're going to go, oh, that story? I know that story inside and out. We are going to break down one of the most, if not the most famous story in the entire Bible. David versus Goliath. Even that term, David versus Goliath, is used in our sports world in competition, still today in our culture, with no understanding of the biblical passage. Just, man, the little guy who's not supposed to even have a shot against the world heavyweight title holder, and look what God does in the midst of it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a story that you and I may be familiar with, we may know, and we're going to pull out pieces of it all week long and just encourage you with what God may be telling you. And that's where I want to start. Today I want to start with you. Just a recap. You know, the Israelite army's been going up against the Philistine army time and time again. It's their arch nemesis. On this time, it's a stalemate because the Philistines send out their Goliath, just 2 feet taller than everyone else. He's a huge man. He's been trained to fight since his youth, and he's been yelling, "Bring me a champion." For 40 days, Israel's been looking around. Who was going to go fight this guy? For 40 days, both battle lines are at a standstill. What I want to point out today is the art of being you. Just you. We're going to look at David being criticized by his own family. We're going to look at David not being the type of person that you would pick. We're going to look at how you have to overcome some obstacles and hurdles in your life, just like we all do. But when it finally gets to a point where David uses his past experience, what God has done, to encourage him for the future, I've killed a lion and the bear, the king said, "All right, David, go. I got no one left. After 40 days, I got no one left. Send you." But because you don't play the part and look the part, we got to dress you up. And here's what happens in 1 Samuel chapter 17. You've probably heard it before, but listen, starting at verse 38. Then King Saul dressed David in his own tunic, and then he put a coat of armor on him and a bronze helmet on his head. And David fastened on his sword over the tunic and tried walking around because he was not used to them. "I cannot go out in these," he said to Saul, "because I am not used to them." So he took them off. Then he took a staff in his hand, and he chose 5 smooth stones from the stream, and he put them in the pouch of his shepherd's bag. And with his sling in his hand, he approached the Philistine. For me, in leadership, this has been one of the most, if not the most, defining passages that I've used to help Chris. And let me just be vulnerable on a daily dose with the time we have. I don't look like a leader. I don't sound like a leader. I don't dress like a leader. I'm the most unlikely guy to be in the position I am in America today. I'm not a spiritual giant. I'm not some theologian. I'm not an intellectual giant. And it seems like God had been using me, but I was always a poser. I was always a fake. I always felt like if people find out who I really am, I'm not the guy supposed to be in this position, in this seat. That started from high school on. Captain of the football team. I'm like, it's a joke how I got to be captain of the football team. I think everyone knows it. I felt like my entire life I was trying to mentally apologize for who I was and what I was doing. Because in my mind, this is what real leadership, real Christianity, real whatever looks like. And guess what? It ain't me. And I came to this passage where here's God says, let me tell you the type of people I'm using. You're not trying to be someone else. You're not trying to play a role. You're not trying to play a position I'm giving you. You are just authentically being you. David goes, I know what a warrior looks like. I know what a warrior dresses like, and I know what a warrior should wear. And I'll even step into it. But you know what? I'm not that type of warrior. And I'm going to pick up my staff and my sling to go against the heavyweight champion of the world. Why? Because this is how God has used me in the past. And if God is using me today, I'm just going to be me. Oh, on this Monday, before we get into all the stuff in this story this week, can I just encourage you? You are made the way you are made. You are put together the way you're put together. You think the way you think. You act the way you think. Your little dyslexic, flaming ADD you is exactly how God created you to be. And I had to learn that really good leadership is knowing who you are and what you're good at. Great leadership is knowing who you're not and what you're not good at. So stop trying. Stop posing. Have you been walking with God? Has God been using you? Then just keep walking with God. And stop trying to mentally apologize for, I'm not that person, or I'm not in that position, or I'm not the father, I'm not the mother I'm supposed to be. I'm not that. It's like, hey, God has created you, and he deeply, passionately loves you. And David found his usefulness in who he was with God, not who someone thought he should be. I'm sorry, I can't wear that. I'm going to play a position God's called me to play. because God has made you exactly how He's made you. Have a great week. Enjoy this passage with us.